Anyway, yes,
you started.
Hey, you're back. You're
I don't know what you're playing.
We are back.
Back again.
Back again in the studio.
Back into the studio.
Yeah, man. Let's come sit down, man. Yeah,
All the seat, man.
Love, man. Yeah, but episode 76.
Oh.
76, innit?
76, yeah.
Yeah, 76. We're moving, man. We're moving.
We're climbing.
Yeah, last one was 3/4 century, but
My climb.
We are climb.
Yeah,
Mango tree.
and we're pleased to be joined by the special. Again,
Special guest.
Second
Time, isn't it? Or is it third?
Might be third, you know.
I think this is third. I think it's third.
Might be.
Came with the fresh trim too.
Yes.
Steph.
In it, like Denzel.
Guy in the finest.
No, man. Thanks for having me, guys. Once again.
Thanks for
No.
coming.
No. Thank you.
No. That's not what we're doing today.
We are doing that.
Nah, man. It's always a pleasure.
Trim's loud though. Can't lie. The trim.
Yeah,
The
it
trim's
is.
crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is
Big up your
still.
barber, man. Big up your barber.
You know what?
Listen,
Who's your barber? Who's your
Cut a
barber?
few man on the way in.
Thornton Heath. Just up.
Mellows. Where's Mellows?
Mellows.
Yeah, up.
Oh, right.
Exactly. Opposite Deli's,
Damn.
yeah.
Okay. Mine's is, you're from Heath.
I lived in here for a bit.
So Dave then on Green Lane.
Yeah.
That's my guy. My brother.
Shout out Dave. But Mellows,
Yeah.
that's my guy, man. Been with him for what, 10 years?
Raw, solid.
Solid
I
trim.
follow the barber. I don't follow the shop.
Always on point.
I hear it. I've never seen Denz with a bad trim.
Yeah, no word.
I've actually never. Yeah.
That's fact.
Hey, however,
Denz saved me a couple times.
one time, yeah. There was one time
What happened?
I needed a trim. It was a Luton.
Oh, I know.
When was this? When I had left?
This one.
No. Arthur Street.
Oh God.
Was I there?
Push my hairline back. Push my hairline back. And I was like, yo.
I'm not going to lie, and this is probably the first time I'm going to say it. You shouldn't have beat me 6-1, innit?
What did you just admit? What did you hold on?
Hey, listen.
Did I hear that right?
I was still raging.
Listen.
And I was like, nah, he ain't gonna notice this.
Nah. The thing is, I didn't until the regrowth came back.
And then you see this.
You see, that was it. It was
Hairline look like a
well
beard.
executed.
And a stubble.
It was well executed. Nah, man. You lot know. You remember Sean with Shalko? Who remembers Sean with Shalko?
Hey, listen, if it weren't Shalko, it was Porto. Fam.
He was a demon with that team.
Yeah.
And she must push his wig back.
He treated me badly
Gave him the drop top.
to balance the cosmos. Nah,
But it's cool though. I don't think that was the only trim that I don't think that was the only trim that I got for you. The rest were calm.
Yeah, it was only that one that was nice. And I was even there. I was like, should I? I shouldn't. You know, I'm just a little bit, just a little bit.
When he's doing Rick James.
I bet you come sit down.
Hey, come down so the people can hear you on the microphone.
I come back on
Hey,
set.
Dad,
man.
come so the people can hear you.
I'm not gonna lie. I have never.
Nah, it's bad still. It's bad.
No, man. I'll be
Admit it
honest.
to a crime, innit?
When I was younger,
words.
I've had some impulsive thoughts that I've let win. And
Clearly.
it's one of the things that I've. No.
Yeah, one time you wanted to
instances.
One time you wanted to kill me.
2 instances. Nah, I didn't want to. It was 3 instances where my impulses.
Bro, you
were,
wanted to punch my throat, bro.
and I returned your stuff. I did the mature thing. I returned your stuff. And then there was the pizza incident.
I'm glad you brought it up.
Look, I know you were gonna bring.
Wait, I think
I swear we talked about this though.
Yeah, I'm sure.
One at a time.
Yeah, one at a time.
Let him express himself.
One at a time.
Looking back at when I was a kid, and
Audio
some
broadcast.
thoughts would just get in my head, and I'm like, you know what? Just gonna do it. Just gonna do it.
So for those that
The pizza incident
let's
was.
explain that one.
You let me go hungry. I'm joking.
Listen, it's one of the things I regretted the most. I'll be honest with you, because that was the longest coach. All right, let me go back. Couple stories. We ordered pizza as a group. We're there, we're chilling, we're cracking jokes.
There's bare of us, by the way.
There's bare of us.
Properly.
It's probably.
I said it was a Sunday.
It was a Sunday.
I think it was a
Sunday.
I think it was a Sunday still, because that's when you were taking your late trip up in it.
On God's day, yeah. Denzel.
It was like six, maybe 7 if there was someone that I'm forgetting, but there was definitely at least.
Yeah, there's at least 6 of us.
Part of our movie
Two
nights,
pizzas.
wasn't
It
it?
was one of the movie nights we
yeah,
done. Yeah. So we're there, we're chilling, blah blah blah, wherever, and Aaron gets up to go get a drink. And I remember looking at the box of pizza and I saw there was just 2 slices left. And I just folded it like a sandwich and I ate it. But when Aaron came back from the kitchen from getting his drink, I then realized his hand was empty and those were going to be his 2 slices.
But yeah.
I thought I was upstairs.
No. So yeah, I think there's a little bit.
Has he missed that piece?
Yeah, there's a little part of the story because I think he was going to get a drink and I asked for a drink at the same time, so that made him stay in the kitchen longer.
No. So Aaron went upstairs. So
I went upstairs.
Aaron went upstairs. So we was all hungry. We decided to order pizza. Yeah.
Shaggy.
And then so everyone's now had like when the pizza come, Aaron just before the pizza come and Aaron had gone upstairs, innit? But Aaron went upstairs for a bit longer than usual, so it's like, alright, we don't know what's happening. So everyone's helped themselves to an equal amount. Everyone had an equal amount. So it was like, alright, everyone was like, that slice is gonna be Aaron's.
Yeah, them two there.
Denzel went over.
I didn't hear that part.
Denzel has already had his 2 slices.
Yeah, I had my 2 slices.
Denzel looks at the Aaron's next 2 slices.
I didn't remember.
Didn't
it was
just
Aaron's
grab
2
one.
slices.
Grabbed the second one, slapped it
Slapped
together,
it like
made
a
a
sandwich.
pizza sandwich.
I made a pizza sandwich. I'll be honest, I hold my hand
So
up.
I'll come down and I'm like,
To this day,
What? Like, it's all a bit of a blur
I was
to
like,
me
where's
now.
the
But
pizza?
was we looking in this belief?
I'm like, but by the time I think Denz was already left out.
Yeah, because we couldn't believe it. We didn't know what he was
No,
doing.
I didn't flee. It happened just as Aaron.
He fled the crime scene. That's crazy.
I didn't eat to flee the crime scene. No.
No, you'd eaten it already.
After I'd eaten it already. After it happened, knowing these lot, they just started cracking bare jokes.
Yeah, bro. I went in.
I got heated. And I was like, you know what? Screw that, it's mad. I was like, fuck this. I'm not taking it. And I just left.
Man
I left earlier than I was planning on leaving.
Left his man's pizza in his belly. Crazy.
It was.
Couldn't even just take one then.
I know. I could have
Slapped it like one pizza.
It's the thought that
One
one
sandwich.
sandwich. I didn't understand why I did it.
But I've forgiven you though, Denz.
I didn't understand why
Just
I
so
did
you
it.
know.
We were young.
I know, that's it. We were it was like 10 years ago.
I didn't.
We were young.
To this day, what did he tell you?
Hey, lads, that's one at a time.
Yeah, one at a time because audio broadcast.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no, we were young and you know we went in still. We went in. Denz went upstairs, grabbed his bag,
Yeah, I just left.
grabbed
man. I
his
was
shit
like, nah,
and
I'm not
left.
doing this.
And everyone was in disbelief. I've never seen Aaron so vexed before.
No,
he was
yeah,
hungry.
so vexed. He didn't
quiet,
say
bro.
nothing. Just walked
Just
straight
quiet.
back upstairs.
Just went quiet.
Walked straight back upstairs.
You know you're hungry.
Yeah,
You're hungry. And I get hungry, man. If I'm hungry.
It's peak stuff.
Yeah. Because I almost couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, can't even leave me one slice. Not even just the one.
He took me 2.
But it was impulse,
It was
innit? Like,
impulsive.
It was
It's impulse.
That's
Yeah, I'm
what
saying.
That's exactly what he's coming back to. There was times we did stuff and we didn't think about it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, no.
And we were young, and when you're young bulls growing up, yeah, like a young bull, innit? When you're a young bull growing up and you're not an adult yet properly, you got testosterone, there's ego, there's pride.
Yeah.
You're not really thinking straight, you're not thinking about how it can affect others afterwards and
But
blah
there was
blah
none of
blah.
that in this situation.
I was just thinking
It
that.
came into that
No, I'm
when
just
you lot
saying.
started cracking the jokes.
Yeah,
Because
like-
I was like, you know what?
Oh yeah.
I could have
'Cause you
apologized.
realise
I would have
after,
apologized
innit?
Yeah.
right there and then. I would have done something to make it right. Because you lot knew. I was in the house. I was the one that cooked.
Yeah.
And anytime I cook, anyone can eat. And there's not
It's
a problem.
true.
There's no problems if they're
It's true,
But
it's
the
true.
jokes you lot cracked then, I was like, you know what? I ain't taking this.
Yeah, you couldn't have it.
Remember, we was looking in absolute disbelief.
Disbelief, bro. I said, bro. You what? You can bust through that bridge, it's not. I said, you're gonna make a bridge and go hungry and you're just eating. I said, I can't believe it. I can't believe it, bro. I said, you're wrong. You're wrong for that. You know me when I'm ready, fam.
Yeah.
You know me when I'm ready. I don't stop. And maybe I shouldn't have I'm sorry, bro. I shouldn't have gone in. I shouldn't have been like that. But you know me, I was an emotional youth as well, fam. If I felt passionate about something, you get me, man. I don't stop.
You're just emotional now.
No, but like I was just but then I ain't changed. Then what you see is what you get. But when I'm passionate about something, I get loud.
Yeah, it's true.
I get loud and I don't stop.
We know.
Clearly.
You would have fooled me.
We're gonna do that.
But you know what? Yeah, a beautiful part of life is for us to be able to look at that
Grow and laugh.
And laugh.
and laugh about it, man.
We can laugh quite well. Fun at the time.
It worked. It really worked, fam.
Hey, bro.
It wasn't. I'll be honest with you.
It was like there was girls there as well. There was even like,
Yeah.
oh my
Hey, you know
God,
them
I
ones
can't believe it. Then no one's ever seen Aaron upset. So
It's pizza.
Oh my God, Aaron.
He ate his pizza.
He ate his pizza.
Nah, it was my longest coach
That was
ride
tough,
ever.
bro.
Because I was like, yeah.
Coach ride? Huh?
No, because he fled by coaching it.
Oh, he
Fled up north.
He left the scene. He left the yard like. And I'm pretty sure you even left earlier than you're supposed to.
Yeah.
because you
I just left earlier.
So what? You was waiting for the coach?
No, I got another one.
Oh, so you paid for another ticket?
No. In Luton, we had the 757. You could buy a ticket and you get on at any time.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
it was the ones that you can get on at
How
any
times
time.
have changed.
Is that Green Line?
Yeah, Green
Yeah.
Line.
What
The
time, man.
757, man. I'll never
£5 ticket.
Exactly.
£5 ticket. Back to
£5.
Victoria.
Sometimes the mega bus ones were a bit unreasonable. If you're a £5
was.
ticket, you knew what time you was getting.
And it was £5 return for the same day if you come back same day.
it.
It's like $7.50 if you come back next day or something like that.
Can I ask you something? In regards to this whole story,
Pizzagate.
pizza.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Wait, hold on, sorry. You see when he was on the coach going back?
I wasn't hungry.
Yeah, I gathered, but did you think about the situation? Did you feel bad? Like, did you have time to reflect when he was on the way back?
Bad, but at the same time, pride wouldn't let me feel bad past a certain point.
You felt bad still.
Pride wouldn't let me feel bad past a certain
You
point
slapped that playlist
because
on,
of how angry
and you
I
watched
was.
you watched the
rest
rain
of them.
from the coach, bro.
No, I hear
The
it.
anger with the rest of them took away from me thinking about the
Okay,
scenario
but-
and what actually happened.
Let me ask you something else.
Do you think you had the right to be angry with us?
Yes.
Yeah, wait, that's my thing.
Yes.
So,
Why? Why?
Because I'm a human. It's one of my human rights. I can be angry at anything that happens to me. You can't tell me.
But does it make it
you
right?
You can't tell me how to react to something.
I never did that.
you see when you was eating the pizza slices,
I'm giving
yeah?
the answer, yeah.
You see when you had the pizza in your hand, before you put it in your mouth, did you like...
No, there was no. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There was no thought about the action.
So there's nothing like, oh, this is Aaron's, but I'm still going to eat it.
No, it wasn't a thinking of this is Aaron's, I'm going to eat it. It was genuinely a thought of there's pizza in the box, I'm going to eat.
No, fair.
Aaron didn't cross my mind at all in that scenario.
Okay, fair.
And when he came back in and I realized what had happened, you know, like when some people describe like going into a blind rage or whatever, and they've done something and they don't realize what they've done until it's actually happened, and they've had a moment to think, they're like, oh shit, that was me. I really did that. I did all those actions. I wasn't actually thinking about what was
Dr.
going on.
Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
It was,
you know what?
It was
One of
It
those.
was one smooth action. For pizza,
Man went.
Do you know what? I don't think it would have been so bad if you didn't slap it together like a toasty.
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing. That was the thing.
That's just one slice.
That's the scoop. And that's the thing. That's
cheese
what I'm
and
trying to explain.
ham
That was that was the thought.
No,
The
but you know
thought
what's
was,
mad?
I could make a sandwich with this.
If you had one at a time, Aaron would have come down and could have had one slice.
Yeah.
So that probably would have saved
But that
Aaron's
was-
belly.
but that was-
Still would have been vexed though.
Yeah, 100%. But at least you had one.
100%. And I'm saying I accept it was wrong. I
But
accept
then,
it was wrong.
anyways, that
you
was
know
back
what?
then, man. You
Back
can laugh
then.
about it now. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you
Laugh
back
about
then.
it.
That
The
is
man then
true.
got stronger afterwards. You know what I'm
100%,
saying? Relationships grow. You grow as brothers. You know what I mean?
I can buy as
Things
much
like that.
pizza as I want now.
Brothers have fights.
But yeah, man. Like, so I'm glad we're obviously enjoying this whole thing in it, and it kind of sets up for this. We've got to have a serious conversation now. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like we could always make light of a certain situation. I think that's what we're very good at. You know what I mean? The topic that we're going to talk about is very serious. We might
Gotta revisit the hairline though, you know.
fam.
Gotta revisit
Yeah, we'll
that.
come back to it.
We'll come back to
at the
that.
end.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. But yeah, it's mad still.
Hey, that's
But
horrific, fam.
yeah, what was I saying?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind
So
games.
the
Spray. Mind games.
I forgot what I was saying.
You're mad. It's me. It's my fault. It's
The
my fault.
topic we went on to.
Yeah, so
Serious.
obviously a good thing, like we might even crack like maybe one or two jokes just to make light of the, because we don't want to get too heavy. We never like to get too heavy on a topic, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously you explain to us about your field, where you like what you do for work, what you grew up studying, and then that'll kind of show a bit of context to what we're going to start talking about, because we're going to start talking about
Some
things
serious stuff now.
Cancer.
So it's a disclaimer.
oh yeah, go on.
Disclaimer to everyone that we're gonna start talking about some sensitive topics. So just be prepared. It's to do with health, illness. So if it's a sensitive subject for you, just be mindful. This is just a little disclaimer before we go into it.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Talk to us about your background in that.
Well, background. I've always had an interest in science. But before going into what I started studying, let's say like from A levels onwards, my real passion was for flight and aeronautical engineering.
Okay.
Anything plane related.
Yeah.
On the, let's say, the age of 13, that was me. F-16s, love it. AC-130s, megabuses, anything to do that you take off the ground and you're in the air for an extended amount of time. I love them.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 14, mom gets diagnosed with breast cancer. Survives a year and a half. Yeah.
From when she was diagnosed.
From diagnosis, yeah, a year and a half. So yeah, I was like 14 and a half when she was diagnosed. Mom died when I was 16. My little brother asked me, why did this happen to mom? And I didn't have an answer for him. I genuinely didn't have an answer for him. And I remember, I'll never forget how I felt in that moment. Looking at my 6-year-old brother. I felt less of a brother, less of anything. That was one of the lowest points I felt. I don't know if it's in addition to the fact that I'd lost mom right there and then, but not being able to answer him and not being able to give him some sort of guidance really pushed me. And that's when I changed and I said to myself, I'm going into cancer research because I need to be able to have these answers, one, for myself, and two, so that I'd never feel that way again. So from then I just switched focus, studied everything. Although the thing is, with how education is in Guyana, you're going to streams. So I've always done science from when we started secondary school. So biology, human biology, social, chemistry, physics, everything science related. I've always studied it. That was my stream. So it's very easy for me to make that change and go into biomedical science. And then from biomedical science, I went and I did a master's in cancer biology. And then from there, I went into the field I'm in right now. So I currently work in prostate cancer research for the last 7 years. Yeah, 7 years on the 9th. I just went. So yeah, I hit my 7-year mark in this field. So, yeah.
Thank you to contributing to the research, bro. We need that still. We need that. Can't lie. We need that, especially as men. We need to understand what it is and how to go about it.
I think we all know someone who's been victim to cancer. It's a very unfortunate thing that I guess we don't understand, but we're trying to learn to understand and just find out the basics of what happens. Obviously, you're going into depth with that with your research and everything like that. What do you think what's the link between when it comes to prostate cancer and black men in general? Like, why do you think that we get it more than other ethnicities?
Moving like my brother right now. We don't know. The thing is, and before I answer that question, I gotta go a few steps back and actually talk about cancer itself.
Yeah.
At its simplest definition, cancer is uncontrollable growth in cells, basically. As humans, when you're working normally, your cells have something that tells them, okay, we've lived our life, it's time to die. Cancer cells have found a way through either genetic modifications throughout life, they've found ways of cutting off that process so they can continue to grow and replicate and continuously create more of their selves. And that's how you grow from one cell into a tumor. Tumors are just a mass of cells. Now, with cancer in the community, because it's uncontrolled cell growth, in our healthy stages at life, we're all different at a cellular level. We're all completely different. And the differences that make us individuals also make our cancers individual. So even if me and you both develop lung cancer, in one, it could be in the smallest of ways. Treatments may affect you differently as to how it will affect me because of how different they developed and the start that they came from.
Can I ask a question? Is that why they have different chemotherapies for different people, or is
Yeah.
am I going too far
No,
ahead?
not chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is just one form of treatment, but
Okay.
that's why you have different treatments or treatment plans for everyone because of how different we are and how different our cells would have expressed or respond to treatment. So yeah, now with prostate cancer and black men, we do not know the link between prostate cancer and black men and why we are, I think it's twice the risk. So 1 in 8 men will develop prostate cancer in their life. That's across the board. You can find out on Prostate Cancer UK, any of the websites that you look at. When you start to look at it on an ethnicity basis, it's 1 in 4 black men compared to 1 in 8 men of white or Caucasian descent. There's different.
Half the chances.
No, twice.
So it's twice.
Yeah,
that way around.
smaller number. Yeah, the smaller number, you increase the chance. So yeah, we're twice as likely as our white counterparts to develop prostate cancer. Now, one of the other things that we notice, we tend to develop a more aggressive form. Now, that's not linked to, well, the link isn't a certainty. It's not certainly linked to the fact that we are black, but it may also be tied into the way our community approaches and works with healthcare. Now, historically, there's been a lot of, we haven't had the best end of the stick.
Yeah.
And you can understand why there's some distrust within communities for healthcare, for professionals. Like, closest example I could bring it back to COVID.
Yeah.
We all thought, when COVID came up and it really hit and the vaccine was introduced, we all saw, or at least one of us had a chain mail sent through saying, oh, they're doing trials on us again. They remember the trials that they did. People highlighted the fact that there was the Tuskegee trials back in America where, I don't want to misquote this, but I believe they were experimenting with syphilis in that trial. But
How?
But they were giving people syphilis, but they were the trial participants were under the impression it was for something else.
Stop it.
I might be getting the details on that slightly.
Yeah.
If you find the article, we can post it.
But yeah,
Find
no.
it, yeah.
But yeah, no.
Source,
Literally,
yeah.
if anyone's interested in reading about it, just look up the Tuskegee air trials. It was
Tuskegee.
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 Tuskegee. They were a group of pilots back in one of the wars. I think it was at the end of probably World War II. But anyhow, research has come a long way from that. But the distrust within the communities, because of the things that we've experienced, because of how we've interacted with healthcare professionals, the fact that a lot of the research and teaching that is done in hospitals isn't always applicable to our community. Sorry, I feel it may feel like I'm going around and around and around, but they all tie back into one thing.
Yeah,
The reason we have problems and distrust within the community, the reason we don't have sometimes we don't have accurate measures for how we would react to certain treatment methods or certain health practices is because we aren't present in the room when, one, the research was designed or conducted, two, we're not a part of the effects. So if, let's say, me and a group of scientists decided to start up a study looking at the effect of drug X in London. when you look at the population of London compared to the population of those trial participants, for you to say that that drug accurately has this effect on everyone in London, you need to have a representation of everyone in London within your trial.
Each group in it, yeah.
Now, normally, and something that we find, you wouldn't have a representation of everyone within London, within the trial. So your results you're reporting are only based on the people that were present within the trial. You could look around the room, we're all different shades of black, we're all different persons individually. If we're not included within the results and how this drug interacts with us, how can we then know that the effects they claim it will have
Would work.
genuinely apply to us? So, yes, there's two ways of combating this. And let me know if I'm getting ahead of myself.
No.
That's interesting. I have a question after though. So when
All right, cool.
after
All right, cool, yeah. So there's the ways of addressing this is, one, we need to be present when the research is designed. Because scientists will have an idea. They'll go about it the best way. Because to get to the top of your field or to be leading a research study, it means that you are very good at what you do and the way that you do it. But if the way that you do it isn't serving every community, you can't think of that community because either you're not thinking about them naturally, two, they haven't crossed your mind, you haven't had someone within the room. And this applies across the board. It doesn't just apply to research. It's anything you can think of. If that voice isn't represented within the room that makes the decision, and that decision impacts that person negatively, they would have never known. The people that make the decisions at the top, sometimes, how many times have you been at work and your manager comes to you and tell you, oh, do X, Y, and Z, but you know that doing this before that would cause you a longer day, or you know a shorter way of doing it.
Yeah.
If
Because you're there doing it.
you're the one doing it, exactly.
Yeah.
If your voice was present in the room before they made the decision to go ahead and this is the path that we have to follow, you would have been able to tell them, we can cut 3 steps here if we don't do this. Same with research. Same with anything you're saying. If your voice isn't represented within what's going on or the design of the research study itself, then the considerations or the special needs of your group may not be met. And then the results that come out of that study won't impact you. The desired impact. So it's a lot of dominoes that end up falling.
would you say that domino? So back to my sort of question phrase, if you like. Back when there was like slavery and stuff like that, Europeans decided, for whatever reason, that the genetic body of a black male and a black female, or the structure, is just stronger than a European structure. And I think there's a book about it as well. I forgot the name of the book. Van's got the book. She's read it and she was telling me bits about it. So I'm not speaking on it from first hand. I'm speaking on it from hearing from someone else.
Okay.
But they used to perform surgeries and stuff, and like open surgeries on black women and black men without any anesthetic, because they felt that they could handle it.
It's possible. And
it was all to do with, I don't really want to say the name of the pharmacist company, but it begins with a P, and they had a vaccine. It's all a part of that. No, it's in the book and that. But I think because of that mindset from the very beginning regarding our sort of ethnicity and our race and our minority, our pain threshold, maybe that's why we're not always thought about when it comes to research and different things. Because even now, if like the black community or the what do you call it? What's the other? The BAME community, we have an issue with sickle cell. But if you go to any sort of hospital, and I've seen it before as well, they don't necessarily treat sickle cell as an emergency or as an urgent situation when it is. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? So what's your thoughts towards that? Is it just because we're not in the room with the research, or is it because there's something else that's sort of deep rooted that has an unconscious bias that doesn't include us in that room?
Two things.
Yeah.
It starts, and it goes back to a lot of the examples I've given before. One, the research that was done way back when may not have been done on our community and how sickle cell, I'm using that as your example, how sickle cell impacts us. how it presents, the pain that we may be experiencing. A lot of this comes from, now the reason it may not be treated the same way within, let's say, the emergency room when you appear or wherever, these people are given guidelines by governing bodies. They go through certain training methods that's been indoctrinated into them. Their training methods and the guidelines that they have, where do they come from? They're developed based on the research that was done. So if you weren't present when the research was done, if your voice or your your experiences aren't a part of the research, it can't be accounted for within the guidelines when it passed down. It can't be accounted for in the training that's given to these clinicians. And when the clinician is now going based on what he's been told and what he has to do, because these are guidelines he has to follow. If he doesn't follow them, he's in breach of contract. He's in breach of practice.
So then,
So they all
how does
tie
it
in.
change?
They all tie into each other.
go.
So I just want to ask. So on that, then, do you find that nowadays in your practice, in your day to day, that there is a big heightened kind of sense of importance on the black community being regarded in terms of these studies, and do you feel like there's a real kind of conscious push in your day to day nowadays about that? Okay, so it's do you from your professional opinion, do you think it's more so something, it's our bias as to why things, I don't want to say why things haven't changed, but do you think it's our bias versus what's actually occurring nowadays? Or a bit of both?
It's a bit of both, but to answer your question, yes, there is a push from governing bodies, funding bodies, to have more inclusivity, more diversity and ethnicity. It's more equality, diversity, and inclusivity within the design of research. There is a definite push from funding bodies to ensure that is there.
Yeah.
But because of the distrust from communities as well, and the fact that for so long some people have not known how to engage with these different communities.
Yeah.
They don't know how to do this research in a different manner. It's very it's in its infantile stages.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
yes, there are researchers that want to do it, and I could think of quite a few that genuinely push, and they're like, okay, cool. Have we thought about this? Have we thought about that? No. How do we think about these things? Can we engage with another community to get the perspective? So there are researchers that are doing it, but it's still very early. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to rebuild the bridge between community and researcher.
I guess you kind of need people who are going to be willing to
Be in those spaces.
Yeah, and willing to be tested on, I guess, as well. Because, like, you know, even with COVID, there was some people who were like, oh yeah, I don't mind being in the trials for COVID and stuff like that. A lot of people were like, you know, there was all that WhatsApp groups, auntie WhatsApps and stuff like that coming around and whatever. Do you know what I mean? But if they were doing trial periods and all that in order to try and find how, like, say, BAME ethnicities and all that react to certain things, then I just feel like, through ignorance and a little bit of ignorance, and obviously how we've kind of grown up with the, like, medical professionals, we'd be like, nah, I'm not giving you none of my blood, or I'm not allowing myself to be
definitely is there.
put in that position.
And it comes back to the trust, because the thing is, a lot of these communities, it's not to say that there hasn't been research done within black communities or Asian communities or any minority ethnics. And there's not to say there hasn't been research done within them, but what some communities have felt is that there's always a take. There's a take. It's what's benefiting the researcher. They don't get to see the realized benefit. And this is from sitting down with a few groups and actually understanding, like, how can we better serve your community? How can we make sure our research is accessible to you? And some of the things they said is, we don't know what happens at the end of it.
Yeah.
You turn up, you tell us all these things, you answer some of our questions, you leave. We don't see the realized benefit. We don't see the outputs from your research. We don't genuinely know, okay, what's the next steps, where it's going. So it's about ensuring they're involved from inception
I would say research design. Then there's the actual research being conducted. Then you have the dissemination of results. They need to be involved in each stage of the research cycle.
Fair.
So that they're completely aware. Because if you tell let's say I tell you I need you to fix that screw, but I don't tell you that screw is actually used to hold up a picture, or behind that screw, if you push it even further, there's a pipe behind there, and you can end up being electrocuted. If I don't tell you the big picture, you will never understand. You just know, oh, he wanted me to remove that screw. He only told me about that screw.
True.
Yeah.
So you need to make people aware of fine details, but also how it falls into the larger picture.
But then at the same, so I was going to say, at the same time though, with that analogy that you just used, if I tell you to remove that screw, and then tell you the big picture that if you go too far, like there's a pipe behind there, but then, you know, if you take it out, then we won't be able to. It might hold up the structure of the building. I'm gonna naturally come back with a lot more questions, and throughout, obviously I can't remember. I'm kind of going back into school, but when you used to conduct like an experiment, you used to kind of have an outline of how you expect the experiment to go, and some of the things that the encounters or the problems that you think you're going to encounter. You also probably then need to. You'll end up in a position where you've got to tell. If I'm asking all these questions, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to. Do you know what I mean? And that might affect. All right. Well, now that I know that I don't want to do it anymore, but you know that this is for the greater good. That's
still your choice. All research is, and at its core, research should always be voluntary, and to ensure that you have to ensure that you make the best choice for you or for us, we should always give you all the information that's required. Yeah. Any questions that you have is given to you. That's what consent is. Informed consent is making sure you're aware of everything that's going to happen, everything that can happen or may not happen, and then you make that choice for yourself. So it's always going to be voluntary. Yeah, you still
it's like certain medication in it, like for example, antibiotics. They might have some side effects, but they'll tell you what the side effects are. Like if you're going for medication, they'll ask you, you're allergic to penicillin and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. And if you take this,
have to take a full history.
Yeah. So I got a question then to sort of move away from that slightly, and coming back to prostate cancer. What age should you be checking in with your doctor for prostate cancer, and how do you sort of go about it, and how do you avoid the whole, like, how do you just go about it, like? How'd you go about it? Yeah.
All right, cool. This one is varying advice for what rules apply to you. General guidelines right now, from the age of 40, you're considered young at 40 to develop prostate cancer. Now, sorry, I have to go back and caveat that by saying, with cancer is a disease of most times a disease of old age. Now, and it doesn't necessarily mean your age is old. It just means the cells.
Okay.
So that's why you can also have cancers that appear in children. They grow at a more rapid rate. So those cells have hit the end of their life and developed into cancers. But yeah, so with age, they say at the moment, age 40, you can approach your GP to get a PSA test. Now, that changes if you have a known family history of prostate cancer. Okay. Now, what they classify as a known family history.
I was going to ask that.
Is a first degree relative, so father, brother.
What about grandfather?
Grandfather can be.
Is that first? Or?
No, grandfather's not. Your grandfather isn't a first degree relative. Your grandfather would be classed as second degree, but there is an area that can cover the grandfather. If you're a grandfather and if you've got 2 or more cancers or 2 or more cases of prostate cancer in that same side of your family, that will also classify you. You should get checked earlier. If you've got quite a few, there's some cancers that are known to increase the risk as well. So if your family has a history of ovarian cancer or breast cancer, that can have an impact on you as well, because some of the genes associated with those cancers. Obviously, we don't have breasts. Well, men can get breast cancer.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, men can get breast cancer because we got breast tissue.
Okay.
It's just
not
tissue.
developed.
We just have less fat in that area.
Okay.
Sometimes. But yeah, no.
We said this. So I'm gonna crack a joke once in a while. But yeah, no.
So, can I just ask? Sorry, then, if I'm cutting, but when is that age that you should maybe check if you have it? Because even from a personal experience, that my dad has it, goes for a person, and my granddad has it.
That's what. I'm genuinely getting to that as well.
Yeah.
So they say 40, get checked regardless. From 40 onwards, you can speak to your GP about getting a PSA test. There are rooms that ask for younger. If one or more of these factors apply to you, so first degree relative, dad, 2 cases within the family, dad and grandfather. So is it your dad's father?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's 2 on the same side. There's strong indication that you should be checked earlier. Now, to tie all of this in, the guidelines don't say under 40, but if you are younger than 40 and have some of these characteristics I've mentioned, 2 first degrees or 2 cases on the same side or multiple cases of cancers within your family, speak to your GP about these things and say, okay, listen, this is my scenario. I would like to get a PSA test.
Yeah.
PSA test isn't the most accurate form that we have for screening. In England, there isn't a screening method for prostate cancer. Women have the mammography.
Yeah.
They also have cervical screening. And there's ages that those screening programs come into play for them. There isn't one for men. There are research studies working on getting them set up.
But they've got to go through that.
But they've got to go through the
circuit.
entire process. Exactly. So they're running the race to get that screening program set up at the moment. Now, you can speak, like I said, you can speak to your GP about getting a PSA test. PSA test isn't the most reliable method, but it is one of the methods that we have for now. And what it does is it allows us, well, I say us, it allows medical professionals to have a baseline for you. Now, the reason they use the PSA test, and I say PSA test, I shouldn't be just using acronyms for people that don't know.
What is that?
Yeah.
So PSA stands for prostate specific antigen. Now, an antigen is a protein that's found on the surface of a cell that identifies that particular cell or that particular protein. So prostate specific comes from your prostate. That antigen lets you know it's only from there. So that's what they're testing for in your blood.
Okay.
Now, with the PSA, if we can establish a baseline for you and you're going through regular checks with your GP, let's say you're going for it once a year or once every 6 months.
Yeah.
If that value changes and there's no reason and they can rule out other reasons for it, then that GP can be like, okay, there's been a significant increase in your PSA. We can rule out infection. You haven't had sex you haven't ejaculated within the last 48 hours. These are all things that can actually increase your PSA as well, by the way. You haven't ridden.
What? Not ejaculating?
No, ejaculating with it. Yeah. So
when you say increase your PSA, what do you mean by increase it?
The levels of PSA that's within your blood can go up post ejaculation.
Oh, right.
So anything that stimulates your prostate.
Oh.
Oh, huh?
How does ejaculation stimulate your prostate? Because you're
Pause.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's no pause. There's no
fair,
pause.
fair.
Because now it comes back to, do you know what your prostate is?
This
and
is
where?
health.
No.
So I know it's in your body.
It's not.
Oh, is it
it's
not?
It's not in your body.
So sorry.
In your gooch.
Those
Around the area though.
so those are the 2 things I was going to ask you. One is that I always was of the opinion that if you masturbate, it helps as men to reduce that prostate cancer issue. Like masturbating is actually seen as a positive thing towards helping that.
I'd like to see the research that claims it.
Okay.
I have no thoughts on that matter particularly.
Yeah.
But what it is now, it comes back to what is the prostate, where it is, and what it does.
Wait there. I'll wear that.
So yeah, like you said, the best anatomical region for it don't want to say the gooch, but
Okay,
cool.
So between your balls
the
and
bridge between.
Yeah, I think it's called your perineum. Yeah, perineum.
So
Before you can, sorry, I need to get this out before. So it's in that region. It's just above your urethra. Now, what your prostate actually does is it's responsible for creating seminal fluid. Now, seminal fluid plus your sperm from your testes, semen, your ejaculation. So that's what it actually does. It produces the fluid that your semen travels in. So that's why when you ejaculate, the levels of prostate specific antigen will be higher in your blood because you've just sent a
signal.
So it's gonna produce. So it's gonna replace what is just.
Yeah, naturally, but your body does that all the time. It replaces everything that's used.
So sperm is the body and the semen is like the vehicle.
Yeah.
Out here making cars and that in your body. Crazy. Yes, crazy. I thought they were both the same thing. Like
No, yes. So your
semen.
sperm are your cells from your testes, and then the semen, the seminal fluid, is from your prostate. Yeah.
The underground.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Interesting.
Just gonna ask. So,
If you don't have a prostate, you won't have any. But yeah, because if you don't have the factory that's creating it,
And that's how they get rid
well.
of it. They cut out your prostate. Yeah,
that's
like-
one of the treatment methods.
Yeah.
So sorry, the second part to my question was that I think you mentioned the PSA like testing method. I think a lot of people, you might touch on this anyway, that they think that it's going to be the intrusive method of fingers up the bum, basically. But it's not, yeah, but it's actually it's not always. It's not that, is it?
So
Like,
that's called a digital rectal exam or a DRE.
yeah.
Now, there's some cases where that's required, but you always have the option of saying no. Like I said, with everything, you can say no. Now, the reason I say it's required is because your doctor will be able to tell you whether your prostate is enlarged, whether there's any nodules or features of it that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Now, your prostate normally looks and feels like a walnut. Literally roughly the same size in everyone. It's the same size of a walnut.
How big is a walnut?
Like this big.
Okay, alright.
Yeah. So there's like
acorn kind of.
a walnut.
Conker.
Yeah, like a conker.
Yeah, you know the Christmas nuts you get? The ones you got to crack with the nuts.
Put some sugar in it.
Brown. No, well, alright, cool.
But you'll see it in the supermarket.
Yeah, you see it. But yeah, so it's roughly the same size. It's got a few ridges and everything like that. So your GP or a doctor would know what it's supposed to feel like. And that's the reason they would ask to do a digital rectal exam. Now, it's not required, and it's not something that's a definite has to happen. You can say no. You can say, okay, instead of doing that, I would like to just do the PSA test, repeat the PSA test. If it's still high, we can go through other screening methods and go down the path. You'll have MRI, biopsy, whatever.
Is that the most effective way, though?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's a quick way for them to check if there's something wrong.
But even if they didn't do that way,
Why'd you keep holding up your finger like
if they even if they didn't do like they didn't do the DRE, and they did the other method, it still gives them the same sort of results that you would get if you did the DRE.
Just quicker.
No, it's
Just longer.
Yeah, so you'll take longer to go through getting an MRI booked in, then you having to get that screened and whatever. So to see,
Okay.
Yeah.
the DRE is just for them to check: is it the right size? Are there any extra bumps, any lumps, any ridges that aren't there? If they feel something different, then they could be like, okay, cool. Let's send you in for further screening. Definitely.
So
Okay.
No,
yeah,
I'm not
qualified.
no, like could we check our own?
You wouldn't know what you're looking for.
I guess so.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Okay,
be able to
but
tell
check
what's
it,
different
Yeah.
unless you've checked before and check again.
yeah.
But it's similar. It's similar to just checking your testes regularly.
Yeah. So if you don't get a PSA, get a Dre. There you go.
Get a PSA.
Dre.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask a question then?
I'm waiting to ask this, so I'm gonna ask my question.
Oh, you've had a few questions in. Let's get you on and then we come back.
Thank you, Denzel.
Ask this one question.
This goes back to what we were saying about not prostate, just cancer in general.
Okay.
So obviously, like yourself, my mum passed of cancer.
Okay.
And my aunt's battling her second round of cancer now.
Okay.
So it's like, even though, like Aaron mentioned before, his dad's and his granddad had prostate, so that would be like a good like sort of inkling for him to go get tested.
Yeah.
With cancer, not prostate cancer, but just cancer in general, like say stomach cancer or whatever. If you know, the same sort of, you know, both of these people are on my mum's side. So, well, obviously my mum, my aunt. So would I then be likely to get
Are you susceptible to just cancer in general?
to cancer in general? Yeah. Does that make sense?
Everyone's susceptible to cancer in general.
But
So
is he
lies
more
dormant,
susceptible?
innit?
Is he more susceptible because people in his family have had a variant of cancer?
it depends on if that cancer was genetic in inception. Not to say inception. If there was a genetic basis for that cancer developing in your mum and your aunt,
Okay.
then the likelihood may be you. as
Maybe, yeah.
Or
Okay.
there's reason for you to check. So if there's a strong genetic link to the cancer and the persons that it's expressed in, then there is reason for you to go for further screening. But that can't be applied to every cancer across the board
Yeah.
because you can't screen for everything. Some things,
It just
as,
literally.
as sad to say, it's luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Now, with prostate cancer, one of the good things about it, what I'm about to say isn't the good thing about it. It's one of the most common cancers in the world. What's good, one detected early, it's the most survivable one. One of the most survivable ones. If it's detected very early, you can cure it. So there is a cure for cancer, some cancers, if detected early. That's why screening methods and practices are necessary.
Yeah.
Now, before I go on, you wanted to ask something.
Yeah. So you see prostate cancer, and it's related to like your semen and your sperm and everything, correct? Same thing. Is there a direct link between prostate cancer and testicle cancer?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. So if you have prostate cancer, you can't develop testicle cancer.
You could.
What's the likelihood of that?
Just depends on where it spreads. innit?
Is that a common case, or is it just you have prostate cancer and you're dealing with prostate cancer?
It's an interesting one. How do I put this? Having one form of cancer doesn't exclude you from developing another form, and having one form doesn't necessarily increase your likelihood of developing another. One of the things, and they call it the hallmarks of cancer, one of the things that cancer does is it has the ability to spread to another region. Now, if it spreads to another region, this is called metastasis. Now, some cancers are known to metastasize or spread to other regions, and we know which regions they would usually spread to. That's slightly different to the question you're asking, but that's one way of it being expressed. Now, if you have a particular type of cancer and it spreads to a known region, then that's your secondary cancer or metastatic cancer, and that's when you'll be fighting those two regions. Like some cases of, I believe it's
That's tough, man.
Do they normally spread to like
Man, you have to
the
give
areas
thanks,
to
you
their
know.
left or to their left or their right?
Thanks for
Kind
that.
of thing.
So many
Or could it
complications.
like
Could you have like
Not
prostate
being-
cancer and then have lung cancer, and could that be the spread? Do you know what I mean? Like,
or could it go straight from like prostate to throat cancer? Like, do you know what I mean? Bypass everything else in your body. Motorways.
It's a good question, but it's mad
it got
still.
on the M23 and
Yeah,
just took
M23.
it straight to the throat.
Just straight, just straight, bro.
Nah, in a way, yes, to answer your question, because if the cancer cells from your primary tumor
Yeah.
break off and into your bloodstream or whatever vehicle it chooses, it could be going through fluids, and it's caught in a lymph node. Now, lymph nodes are all over your body. You got lymph nodes there.
Yeah.
Armpits.
Armpits, wherever.
Yeah.
If it gets caught in that region,
Yeah.
that's where and it grows.
It's a tumor, you get a
That's
tumor.
where you're going to develop it.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So it can go wherever the body allows it.
Yeah.
Some cancers, no, that's what I was trying to remember. I believe prostate cancers and breast sometimes have the tendency to migrate to your bones as well,
Okay.
and then you can develop. What's the term for it?
Bone marrow cancer.
No. Bone marrow cancer is different. That could be one of the leukemias.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the name for when it's in your bones.
Is it harder to treat when it's in your bones?
when cancer has usually when a cancer has metastasized or spread, it's later stage and it's harder to treat because especially if it's in a very vulnerable region, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
So that's why I say the earlier you catch it, the better your treatment better your treatment options are, and the more options that are available to you, the better your chances of surviving.
Listen, that's why. I was just gonna say that's why we need to just
Give thanks.
put and put the pride aside, and sometimes just go get
Go get
checked.
checked.
Yeah, yeah,
Go
yeah.
get your blood tests. Go
Go
get
do
your
whatever.
everything.
The doctor says he's got to do his thing.
Me and Denz have been fortunate enough. We worked alongside each other, like in the hospital.
Yep.
So when me and Denz, I think we've had the privilege of being able to see that these places aren't actually as scary as we kind of make them out to be, and because we worked in them, it's more kind of like just day to day, kind of like this is what happens. Like you have to get checked. You got to do this. You got to do that. I was going to ask you, Denz, just quickly, because I know guys have got other questions as well. Is there anything on a is there anything that we can do to help us with prostate? So like people will say, if you squats are quite good, like those sort of things. Are these kind of myths within the?
They're not myths, but it's all contributing to a healthier lifestyle. The more active you are, the better your health.
Yeah.
The less problems that can develop, or the more I want to say attentive you are to your body and to the changes that present it in your body. It'll be easier for you to spot things and to delay things from happening.
Yeah.
So leading a better lifestyle, cut down on your drinking. So do things in
smoke as well.
Smoking because that's lung cancer,
Throat cancer, all the rest of that.
Loads of them. Just moderation. Things that are genuinely bad that you can avoid, try to avoid them. Things that you can't avoid, let's say everyone has their vices. Just cut back. The small changes really do help, and they help to prolong your life.
Bro, a lot of respect to you, man, for switching what you was doing to go into this field,
I
bro.
still want to fly a plane, bro.
I hear you, bro.
And you still
hear
can,
you.
bro.
You still can.
You still can.
But real talk, bro. Massive respect, man. Massive respect,
Can
bro.
I ask one last question,
sir.
and end on a bit of a more positive note, in the sense of when people are cured from cancer, does that mean that the cells that are affected
Are gone.
No. Or does it mean they shrink, or what does it mean? They disappear?
They're being maintained pretty much.
All right, so what is treatment? And I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's a way for you to visualize what it is. With treating cancers, because they are derived from our own cells, sometimes it's very hard to tell the difference between our cell and that cell.
Okay.
When drugs are developed that target specific, and that's why I explained what an antigen is, target specific proteins so that you can tell, okay, cancer cells have this one. We know that that's there. We can have a drug that targets just that. But if that protein also expressed on another from your cell, sometimes it's still hard. But treatment is about how well can we walk this very fine line of killing your cancer cells before we kill you. And
that's why it's tiring.
It's a very crazy way to put it, and take this lightly. I don't take my statement lightly, but I'm asking people when they're listening to just take it lightly, to visualize how it is. It's about walking that fine line of dividing two things that are so similar. One of them does you no good, and the other is you. What makes you you? So that's why a lot of the times you can find treatment can be very taxing on the body.
Like an evil clone, kind of.
Yeah.
Killing Mr. Hyde
Yeah.
and leaving Jekyll alive.
Yeah,
It's hard.
Bad issue.
Yeah, you can't take your hollow out.
Kill the hollow.
Exactly that. So that's what it comes down to. So that's what some treatment methods are about. It's about how well, and especially in the past, there were harsher treatments that didn't differentiate as well. So it would be
killing your normal cells as well.
yeah, they would kill your normal cells as well, but they would be done, it would be done in doses. Like they would increase the toxicity to an amount that we know, okay, the cancer cells can't tolerate this, but your cells can just about. It's like bringing things to just below boiling. And then take it back down again, and then you take it up again, and then you bring it back down. But it
kills the cancer cells.
But it can work on the cancer cells because we're aware that it works on them.
Yeah.
So there were harsher methods before, but now they've come leaps and bounds in a lot of cancers. There's a lot of research into better methods, better ways of delivering the medicine itself. Yeah, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
But to come back to what we started with, to ensure that these impacts and effects that we're seeing within the research applies to everyone across the board, we need to ensure everyone across the board is visible within the participation of the research, visible within the design of the research. And that can only work in two ways. Us getting up off of our asses and doing something, researchers getting up off their asses and doing something, and us both meeting in the middle and doing the work that needs to be done.
So, okay, no, I'm not gonna, because I'll go on.
Yeah, but bro, we're over.
Denzel.
Hey,
I read science, man, you know.
Brilliant.
Science, man, your brain works different, man.
100%.
Yeah, if you've been watching this and you've got any questions that you know about cancer in general, any type of cancer, or just anything to do with what we've been talking about, just
Reach out,
let us know, drop something in the comments,
Email us.
There's loads of information out
all
there.
sorts. Do you know what I mean?
We'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah, and we'll get Denz to show his fantastic intellect.
When I'm not stealing pizza.
Or pushing back someone's hair.
But yes,
been here. Another episode come to end of episode 76.
76. Yeah,
Brilliant. We're getting there, man. We'll be on 100 soon.
Trust me.
Next week.
Tell them again. But yeah, you've been here with Aaron.
Been there, Shapes.
Yeah, we're sure.
Been there with DCB,
AKA
Chargy Day,
AKA
Angleman Dad.
Come on.
Stop it, calm down.
Yes, and
also-
special guest, man, like
I'm Denzel, man. I'm just Denz.
Denz is Denz. Round of applause for Denz, man.
Man,
we'll
like
take
science.
plug your socials, but you don't really use socials. Nah.
I big up the brothers every time, man.
the
Trust
brothers.
me,
Big up the
Big up
brothers
science
every
as well.
time, man.
I see you lot had KDEEM on here last time.
Listen.
Yeah.
Some of the guests we have, they're friends, but you see a lot of our other guests, especially it's family. You get what I'm saying?
Family
So
for life.
just know that it's family that you lot saw today, and that is
Trust me, that.
Yes,
But yeah, man.
that is it.
Peace and love, guys. Look
We're
after
out.
yourselves.
We out.
Health is wealth.
Get checked.